Things we wish Jesus hadn't said. My name is David Madison, the 26th of October 2019, and this is episode 24 in a series of flash podcasts on that topic. Mark Twain said that the best cure for Christianity is reading the Bible, so let's take a close look and see why Mark Twain was absolutely right. What was Jesus' attitude toward family? As his popularity grew, maybe not all was well. This is what we read in Mark 3. Then he went home, and the crowd came together again, so that they could not even eat. And when his family heard it, they went out to restrain him, for people were saying, "He has gone out of his mind." And a few verses later, while he was still speaking to the crowds, his mother and his brothers were standing outside, wanting to speak to him. Someone told him, "Look, your mother and your brothers are standing outside wanting to speak to you." But to the one who told him this, he replied, "Who is my mother? Who are my brothers?" And pointing to his disciples, he said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother." Then we find this in Matthew 10. "For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and one's foes will be the members of one's own household. For whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." Of course, the worst Jesus quote of all is Luke 14:26, "Whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even life itself cannot be my disciple." In episode 1 of this series, I talked about that verse alone. So is Jesus anti-family? Here we hit a brick wall. We don't know, and we have no way of knowing. There is no contemporary documentation of any kind for anything Jesus said or did. By contemporary documentation, historians mean letters, diaries, transcriptions, newspaper accounts. We have none of that at all for Jesus. Nada, zip, zero. We have Gospels that were written decades later by authors who freely created. Those who claim that the Gospels are history have a big problem. They can't tell us what the sources were. If we don't know the sources, we don't have history. Full stop. And the Gospels contain so much folklore, fantasy, magical thinking, and borrowings from other literature. But it's a fair question. Why would Matthew, Mark, and Luke include so much anti-family stuff? Why did they create this Jesus script? Please get used to the idea that the Gospel authors wrote cult propaganda, trying to keep the cult members in line. So they have their cult hero, Jesus, say, "Whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother." That is, you're related to Jesus if you follow the cult rules. Other family loyalties are condemned. This is taken to the extreme in Luke 14:26 that I quoted. You have to hate your family. Christians cling to their image of a Jesus who wouldn't say such things. But here's the other brick wall. The Gospels writers wanted people to think Jesus said these things. There's no getting around it. They wanted to portray Jesus as a cult fanatic. We hope Jesus didn't say the anti-family stuff. The Gospel writers who wrote the Bible, the good book, thought otherwise.